Hello and welcome to Howard's Horse Handicapping episode number 25. We have made a quarter century of shows. I'm so happy that you can join me here today. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button in the corner. You also comment down below the video player. You get in touch with me on Twitter following my account at hkravitz, or you could email me at hkravitzhorse at gmail.com. Again, hkravitzhorse at gmail.com is my email for horse racing questions, comments, inquiries, etc. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be recapping mainly the three big Kentucky Derby preps that occurred this past Saturday. And what a fantastic day of racing, a strange day of racing, a lot of things to discuss. We're also going to very briefly talk about the pick five sequence at Keeneland on Saturday, but we're going to emphasize more on the Kentucky Derby preps that occurred. And there are a lot of, like I said, very interesting things that happened on Saturday. For me personally, just like the Wood Memorial, a complete, utter failure dumpster fire. My interesting opinions in general were not good on Saturday. Hopefully, you took my information and made some money. I thought it was pretty hard to make money on Saturday. And look, if I come on here every recap show and say I killed it for the weekend, I made thousands of dollars, you know that would be a lie. I know that would be a lie. This is a very difficult game. You're going to have great days. You're going to have some days that aren't so good. But look, I'm recording this on Sunday. It was 70 degrees outside for the first time we reached 70 degrees here in Chicago. I took my sticks. I went to the driving range, hit some golf balls on a beautiful day. Things could be worse, right? So, and also it was Easter, of course, today. If you celebrate Easter, a late happy Easter to you as well. So, listen, there's worse things in the world than having a bad day at the track. Sometimes it's going to happen that way. I mean, everything for me personally, maybe for you also, I don't know. Hopefully, you made money. Everything went wrong. I lost photos. Horses stumbled out of the gate. Horses broke through the gate that I liked. Trips didn't work out. I got steadied, shuffled back. I mean, you just name it, man. The pick six at San Anita. I had three single possibilities in my pick six. They all came in, and then Rock Your World rocked my world and knocked me out of everything. Anyway, we'll get into it. Again, I hope you had a good day. Sometimes things are going to go great for you. It's called gambling for a reason because you're taking a chance. These are real live breathing animals, and sometimes things work out for you. Sometimes they don't. But we do have a lot of really important things to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First of all, what's happening this week? Let me show you the promo. So this week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, again, my live stream show, and we're going to be covering Oaklawn. Oaklawn has got a tremendous card this Saturday, highlighted by the Arkansas Derby, with Concert Tour being the heavy favorite, most likely in that race, and one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby. So we're going to be talking about the Arkansas Derby. We'll talk about the late pick five and any stake races that are worthwhile talking about. We will be very centrally focused on Hot Springs, Arkansas, for the last major prep for the Kentucky Derby, the Arkansas Derby. Also, the contest. What happened in the contest? I know no one's going to be surprised by this, but no one had the trifecta in the wood. So what we're going to do, we are going to have another free contest, and I promise you, this is my promise now, someone will win the contest. I will make sure, depending on what the contest rules are going to be, etc., I will formulate it so there will be a winner in the contest. You definitely want to participate. I greatly appreciate all of you that participated in the contest this past weekend. I looked very carefully. Not one person had bourbonic. I mean, why would you? I'm still shocked by the result. But anyway, no one had bourbonic even in their trifecta, so no one came close. I wasn't expecting a huge bomb to win. I thought someone had a great chance to hit the try, but no one had it. I don't know how you possibly could. So we will have another contest next week, and it'll be something that will be hittable, or we will have a winner. I will formulate that one way or another. Please pay attention to the live stream this Thursday. So let's jump right in to the three main races that I want to talk about. Again, after I talk about these races, I'd love to hear your opinions down below the video player. Please comment on what you thought of the three Kentucky Derby prep races, or my opinions of these races as I go over them. Of course, if you want to send me a message that's not as public, you can always email me as well. So let's get into these three races. The first race, we're just going to go in order from east to west coast. And the first race we're going to talk about is the Wood Memorial. The Wood Memorial, there's the chart right there. Sorry, there's the chart. Won shockingly by 72. That's right, 72 to one shot. Bourbonic pays $146.50, and Dynamic One comes in second at 15.6 to 1. Both trained by Todd Pletcher. I don't know what to say. The Todd Pletcher dollar exacta pays $453. Unbelievable. And the 50-cent tries, you can see, paid $1,710 with Crowded Trade, which I know some people liked, in third. My pick, Candyman Rocket, was absolutely horrible. He was a little bit wide. We're going to watch the stretch run mainly here, but I couldn't really find a major excuse for Candyman Rocket other than he was a little bit wide on the first turn and wide in the second turn. I know a lot of people were interested in Brooklyn Strong. He finished fifth. Let's take a look at the buyer figures. I think that's very important. So if you look at the buyer figures there, again, the buyer figure for this race is that line furthest on the left. Bourbonic jumped up 13 points from a 76 to an 89. I have no idea where it came from, to be honest. Dynamic One jumped up 10 points from a 79 to an 89. But I think the real story of this race was all the major contenders all took a step back. You see Crowded Trade went from a 95 to an 87. Weyburn decreased 10 points. Brooklyn Strong, who I personally didn't love in this race, but I know some people did, regressed from a 94 back to an 82 off the layoff. Prevalence, who I was against and who took a lot of money, so I was correct about that at least, uh, went down to an 81, really ran about similar to the same race. I think the big disappointment of the race, I think most people would agree, was Risk Taking, who went off the favorite at 2.35 to 1 and regressed from an 89 to a 78, and I really couldn't find a lot of excuses for him. Let's go ahead and just look at the stretch run of this race, and I really believe uh, and we're not gonna like I said, we're not gonna watch all these races here. But you see, Weyburn was in another good spot here. The track was playing very slow. That needs to be mentioned. The track at Aqueduct was playing very slow on Saturday. You see right here, Candyman Rocket, the 7, gave me a sort of a cheap thrill. Right here, I thought he was in a pretty good spot, and I thought he had an outside chance to win. As you see, Dynamic One, who finishes second in the Repulse stables there on the outside. Bourbonic is all the way back of the pack here. Just came out of nowhere. The race completely fell apart. You see Risk Taking, the 4 horses right here going wide. They turn to the stretch, and you see Weyburn takes the lead. Right here, the 2 horse made a Crowd Trade, made a big move. Right here, if you had Crowd Trade, you had to believe you were the winner. He completely flattens out, and here comes Bourbonic on the outside at 72 to 1, mowing down the other Pletcher. Crowd Trade third. There's the finish there. I'll just let it run through. I mean, what I take out of this race mainly, in my opinion, is that this race, like I said before, to me was an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, you don't want anyone coming out of this race in the Derby, in my opinion, at all. The horses that were favored, the most likely winners, really didn't run a step. Did the track have anything to do with it? Maybe. Like I said, the track was very slow at Aqueduct. So the fractions you have to take, under consideration. But again, Bourbonic ran an 89 Beyer. That puts him, a good 8, 10, 12 points below what he's going to need to run in the Derby. I mean, can he improve again? I guess. This is a horse that I will not be interested at all in the Derby or Dynamic One unless they go to Churchill and their workouts are unbelievable. I have absolutely no interest in those two horses uh, in the Derby. And look, these things happen. Just for some historical perspective, the 72 to 1 was the longest price in the history of the Wood Memorial. I also did some stats because Todd Pletcher does not. First of all, most of his horses are not 72 to 1. First of all, secondly, usually he doesn't win with bombs. I did a little research. In the last 5 years, the biggest price that Todd Pletcher had was a horse called Photo Call, who won the First Lady, a Grade One at Keeneland in 2016, and Photo Call was 29 to 1. So he has not had not this is not just stake races. This is any race that he's won. He's won over 1,000 races in the last 5 years. I looked it up on DRF Formulator, and if I looked at it correctly, again, the biggest winner he's had in the last 5 years was 29 to 1, and he just won on Saturday with a 72 to 1 shot. Tip my cap to Todd Pletcher. Unbelievable. This horse showed really no ability, in my opinion, at that point. So I really don't know what to say. Again, I just think it's a race that is not going to be useful come the Kentucky Derby. But if you like Todd Pletcher and you had Bourbonic, congratulations to you. Dynamic One also ran well. There's really not much else to add about the race. I don't think it's going to be a factor going forward, in my opinion at least, in the Kentucky Derby. The next race that I want to take a look at is going to be the Bluegrass. Now, the Bluegrass Stakes run at Keeneland uh, was very predictable. I liked Essential Quality. I really didn't think he was going to lose. I do have to give credit to highly motivated. Excuse me, highly motivated ran. I don't know if he ran better than I thought. I was just sort of hoping that he wouldn't get the distance from a betting perspective. But highly motivated, you can see there, uh, came in second, only by a neck, ran a great race. We'll watch the stretch. The horse I was a little bit interested in took a lot of money, more money than I thought. He was actually the third choice. That was Untreated, who finished second to last. We'll watch the beginning of the race, then we'll watch the end of the race also. Untreated, we'll watch the beginning. I was hoping he'd show speed. My instinct was right in the respect that he did take some money, and a lot of people liked him underneath. But he got steadied at the start of the race, and he got shuffled back and was last or second to last at one point. And it was pretty much a merry-go-round race, so that's not where I want him to be. Um, let's go ahead and watch and analyze this race a little bit. But Essential Quality again wins for Brad Cox, stays undefeated. It was one heck of a race. Let's go ahead and just watch the start very quickly. And this is exactly what I thought would happen. I thought Highly Motivated would go to the lead. We talked about it. Watch the two, though, Untreated, who broke okay. Highly Motivated actually didn't break great. But you see, Highly Motivated takes the lead. Essential Quality had to use his speed. And Untreated just didn't have enough speed really to get into the game. And then he gets sort of in a tough spot right in between. LeBlanc, who's about 1,001, came over. Untreated steadied, and he was in last place there. And right here at this point, I was pretty sure, frankly, that these horses were going to be 1-2 around the track. We'll just go ahead and Essential Quality, by the way, who, again, is a fantastic horse, had to be used up close more than I think he wants to be. I do not think in the Derby he's going to be second, after the first quarter. In fact, I'm almost positive of it. This is a horse that I think wants to come more mid-pack and make a little bit of a run. He had to be used early in this race because he wanted to stay closer to Highly Motivated. So I think it was an excellent ride. As we see in the turn, these two superior animals just start separating themselves. Again, Highly Motivated ran a very big race. You see 48 and 1, 112. So it was a moderate pace. It was, uh, again, moderate. It wasn't fast. It wasn't slow. Right here, I thought Essential Quality was really going to blow by in the stretch, frankly, but highly motivated, ran a big effort. I thought right about here, when he goes left-handed, right there, I thought he sort of came out a little bit and might have bothered Essential Quality just a tad. I don't know if there would have been inquiry or not, but Essential Quality ran him down. Fantastic race. You see right there is the finish. He wins by, he wins by a neck, but if you could say a comfortable neck, if there is such a thing. And you see Rombauer there finishes in third. Really, no one else was a factor. The final time was 1:48 and 2, a very good time. Granted, they both got really perfect trips. We go and look at the buyers here. Essential Quality really ran the race he's been running all year long, another mid to high 90s, 97. I would have liked to see a small step forward. He really ran the same race. Can he win that same race again and win on Derby Day? Obviously, yes. But I'm still waiting for that sort of explosive plus 100 buyer from Essential Quality. Highly motivated, jumped up from a 92 to a 97. Obviously, he got the distance, ran a big race, almost won. There's really not too many other horses to talk about. Keep Me in Mind, who I didn't like, is very disappointing. He is not going to be a factor at all going forward unless he starts getting some more tactile speed and improves. And you see Untreated there, finished second to last. And just so we can look at the incremental pace there, both Essential Quality and Highly Motivated got their last eighth there in about 12 and a half seconds, which is very respectable for this race. And again, the buyers you can see there on the left side screen, they both got 97s. This was an impressive race for both of them. I really have nothing to knock on either one of these horses. Let me just tell you my opinion of these two top horses. So I heard some people say on Twitter that, or asked me, am I concerned that Essential Quality might bounce off this effort because he had to run such a, maybe a more taxing race and empty the tank in this race, and that'd be a negative. Look, Essential Quality only ran one race before this. He had a nice break since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Then he had and then he ran only once before this. If he can't run well because he expended energy a month before the Derby, I don't buy that at all. If Essential Quality does not win the Derby, it's going to be because he got a bad trip or some other strange circumstance. I do not think it's going to have anything to do with a taxing effort here in the Bluegrass. In fact, I like the fact that he had to work a little bit. This is the first time he really had to work hard in the stretch to go by someone. I think that's just going to toughen this horse up. I expect him to take a move forward. Like I said on Twitter, I think they're going to ease off him a little bit. The next 7 to 10 days, I have full confidence in Godolphin and Brad Cox. They'll have the horse ready on Derby Day, and he certainly deserves to be one of the top two choices. Now, highly motivated. I have a very strong opinion on highly motivated going forward. He deserves his place in the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby, no question about it. He ran a great race. Here's the problem if you like highly motivated. First of all, he's going to take money because he just finished second and almost beat Essential Quality, number one. Number two, he had a very good buyer 97. People are going to like that. And I'm sure his other speed figures are good. Number three, he's trained by Chad Brown. So when you take all those things into consideration, I think highly motivated is going to take money in the Derby. I'm guessing 10 to 1 ish, if I had to say right now. I do not like him in the Derby unless some speed scratches out of the race or he just absolutely loves the Churchill Strip. But the problem is he's not going to get that same trip in the Derby at all. There's other speed in the race. And I question him a little bit at mile and eighth. I really question him at a mile and a quarter. I maybe could use this horse, in third and fourth, maybe, but he's definitely not going to be one of my top two choices in the Derby unless some strange things happened. I still think this horse is going to be an absolute monster, going like 7 furlongs, 1 mile. Um, this is a very talented horse. I just don't think he's going to get better as the distances go further. Let's talk about again, any thoughts you have? comment down below the video player. Let's go on to the Santa Anita Derby, which again was a very interesting result. We're going to go ahead and get to that right now as I go ahead and set up for you. So the Santa Anita Derby was won, as you can see, by Rock Your World, which is an awesome name. And this horse ran a big effort. He went off at 5-1. He beat Medina Spirit, and he beat Medina Spirit handily by 4 1/4 lengths. You see Dream Shake there came in third. Defunded, a horse I was interested in for Bob Baffert. He ran a decent effort. He came in fourth, and really, I don't think there's anyone else to talk about of mention. We'll go ahead and look at the bio figures out of this race. Again, if you look on the left side column, Rock Your World, who, I'll be honest, I did not like on the win end here at all. I thought he was an interesting horse, but not on the win end. Improved his buyer after running 282s on the turf to a 100 buyer. That's a big buyer. In fact, I believe that's going to be the highest buyer fig going into the Kentucky Derby, other than the Arkansas Derby. We'll see what happens next week. But this horse improved first time on dirt 18 points, ran a huge race. Medina Spirit did what Medina Spirit does. A mid 90 buyer. I think he was a bit disappointing. And I think for me personally, the big disappointment in the race was Dream Shake. Dream Shake, as you can see, went from a 91. I thought he would improve to a mid 90 or high 90 buyer. He ran about the same race again to a 90, and defunded there, as you see, didn't really improve going longer. Although it was a big ask to go from 6 furlongs, obviously, uh, to a mile and eighth, no question about it. But Rock Your World, we go ahead and look at the incremental pace figures there after taking pressure, and we'll watch the race a little bit. 22-2. He ran the second quarter in 23-3. So I mean, they were moving up front, and he got his final eighth of a mile there in 12-4, which is really not bad considering they went fast. Finished in 149. Got 100 buyer. Listen, I don't really have any negatives to say about Rock Your World in this race. We're going to go ahead and watch the replay here a little bit. Rock Your World was the 3 horse in this race. What I was a little bit surprised, and you see he broke real well, was that the 4 Parnelli didn't go on with it. You see Rock Your World, he was asking quite a bit. Medina Spirit wanted the lead, and instead the Great One also wanted the lead, but Parnelli with Maldonado rushed up, and Rock Your World, held his spot, but he had to ask to get there by Umberto Rispoli. So let me just go ahead and freeze it right here. This was a fast first quarter. And you see Medina Spirits in the 4 path, or the 3 path. You see they went 22-2, and Dream Shake is also up close, but he's in a good spot. Now, John Sadler said that they wanted to go to the lead with this horse because he had an inside post, and very importantly, this is important to mention, he did not want to have dirt kicked in his face because he's never really had dirt kicked in his face. Keep that quote in mind as I finish my comments about the Santa Anita Derby. You see Defunding got a little bit of wide trip there on the first turn, although it was a comfortable trip, but it was a wide trip. We'll go ahead and fast forward here to the far turn. You see Rock Your World extended out his lead. Right here, I thought Dream Shake up the inside was going to be a factor, but he really didn't give that kick. Medina Spirit is also just sort of one-paced. No one from the back is really running on. Defunded made a move 4 wide. But watch Rock Your World here. He does drift into the rail. You'll see it right coming up here. Right there, you see he drifted into the rail, and he corrected himself. He's on the correct lead. But then towards the end here, right there, he switched back to his wrong lead. But no one really is making any ground. He stays on his wrong lead. So you see Roberto Rispoli looking to the crowd there. Listen, I would be pumped up too if I won this race and I was going to the Kentucky Derby for the first time. So congratulations to Umberto Rispoli. You see, there's my 2 top choices in this race, Medina Spirit and Dream Shake, and you see Defunded there in fourth. So my top three choices come in 2, 3, 4 in this race. Rock Your World uh, ran very well, and I have strong opinions on Rock Your World going forward. We're going to talk about that. Like I said, Rock Your World rocked my world betting wise because he knocked me out of the pick six. And, in hindsight, from a betting perspective, uh, I suppose I overestimated Defunded. It's very hard to go from 6 furlongs a mile and eighth, but I liked the breeding. I liked what I saw. And how many times, maybe you're one of those people out there, how many times do you like one Baffert, Medina Spirit, and the other Baffert wins, or the other Pletcher wins, like in the Wood, where, like, for example, if you liked Dynamic One, you probably thought Bourbonic, who's 72 to 1, had no shot, and the other Pletcher won. So it's happened to me so many times. I knew that Defunded would have to run a big race. In hindsight, would I've used Rock Your World instead of Defunded in my pick six? Let's talk about Rock Your World for a second. So the reason why I didn't like Rock Your World on top is Andy Harrington in a fantastic. He has a great workout report. Had two C+ works on Rock Your World, so he was getting fast times in his workouts, but he was really being asked to run those fast times, and I thought that was a negative. But that's not the only reason. I'm not blaming my pick six loss on Andy Harrington because he's a fantastic clocker. But when you have a horse that's run 282 buyers on the turf, I could not imagine this horse jumping up 15, or what happened was 18 buyer points, first time to dirt against some other speed horses and a decent field. I didn't envision it happening. I mean, if this horse was so much of a dirt horse, why wouldn't they run him on dirt before? If you had Rock Your World, congratulations. You were smarter than me in this race. There are a lot of reasons I didn't like him on top, and so I didn't use him on top. Now, going forward, what do you do with Rock Your World? Of all the horses, in my opinion, they're going to run in the Kentucky Derby a month from now. This is the horse, Rock Your World, you have to pay the most attention of how he works over the Churchill Downs strip. Churchill Downs dirt in general is relatively kind to turf horses. Turf horses can run okay at Churchill Downs because it's not a very deep, heavy surface. In general, it's a pretty fast surface that has been kind to turf horses, and I'm putting that in quotes because who knows what Rock Your World is right now, to turf horses in the past. If I was John Sadler, and he's much smarter horseman than I am, I would take Rock Your World as early as I could uh, to Louisville, Kentucky, and I would work him more than once over the Churchill Downs strip. If Rock Your World works very well at Churchill Downs, he will be a big upgrade for me, and he will be one of my choices in the Derby. So I'm going to look at his workouts very carefully. As of this moment, I'm still a little bit against Rock Your World for two reasons. Number one, there's other quality speed in the Derby. Concert Tour, for sure, is not going to let this horse just, walk on the lead in the Derby. Number one. And number two, and this is very important, John Sadler specifically said, I don't want this horse taking dirt. Well, listen, in the Kentucky Derby, there's 20 horses. Unless he uses him really hard, just guns the lead, he's going to be taking dirt at some point, or if he gets a comfortable trip on the outside. So if you like Rock Your World, there's two things that I think need to happen for him to have a chance in the Kentucky Derby in a month. Number one, he needs to be working well at Churchill. And number two, he probably needs an outer post. Maybe not post 20, but somewhere from post, 10 to 16, so that if he doesn't have the lead, he'll be on the outside with a comfortable stalking trip and won't have dirt kicked in his face. He still has questions to answer, in my opinion, but take nothing away. He ran a big race, much bigger race than I thought. Congratulations to John Sadler and Umberto Rispoli and Rock Your World. I also think, and again, tell me your opinion down below the video player, because he ran a 100 buyer people are going to see that huge buyer number, right? And you're going to see 1111111 in his form line based on the San Diego Derby. And he's got a great name. And let me tell you something, names absolutely matter. If you don't think they matter, take a look at the history of these races. My boy Jack went off at like 6-1, which was shocking a few years ago because a lot of people that like have the name Jack or like Jack bet on this horse. Rock Your World is a fantastic name. Love the name. Credit to the owners for naming this horse. It just rolls off the tongue. It's an awesome name. People are going to bet just because of that name. I guarantee you. So there's a lot of reasons. My prediction is this horse is going to be third choice in the Derby. Again, depending on what happens next week in the Arkansas Derby, etc. I think it's going to be Essential Quality and Concert Tour 1-2, depending on what happens next week, probably. And I really believe Rock Your World has a chance to be the third choice in the Derby. And as of now, I will be completely against Rock Your World at like 6-1 or whatever he might be. Again, there's a long way to go. We have plenty of time to talk about uh, that race. I want to briefly just talk about some of the races in the Pick 5 sequence that occurred at Keeneland because I think they are worth mentioning as I get my Keeneland races up here right now. So Keeneland, listen, uh, I am not going to have a good day when chalks went all over the place, and it was a very chalky day at Keeneland. Let me just come on back on screen. The Keeneland Pick 5, late Pick 5, with all their great races, granted, a few of the races were not big fields, but the Shakertown was, and there were other interesting horses, in my opinion, that could have won. The late Pick 5 at Keeneland paid $45. Really? $45? I don't, who cares? Congratulations. If you had the pick 5, I'm happy for you. I hope you had it 50 times. Listen, when a pick 5 pays $45, I'm probably not going to have it in the first place because I just will never play that many favorites in a sequence. And number two, it's not a sequence I would be really interested. For me and this show, in terms of the picks I gave out, boy, did I lose a lot of photos. I mean, everything in the pick 5 just went wrong. I lost photo finishes. Horses like Imprimis broke through the gate before the start. I mean, past the Champagne, lost by a dirty nostril. Attachment rate came flying, couldn't get there. I mean, a lot of things for me in this show's picks didn't go well, but hopefully you had a good day on Saturday. Very briefly, let's talk about it. Flagstaff, who I did like, uh, did what Flagstaff does, about a mid 90 buyer. Nothing spectacular. I'm just going to go ahead the stretch. I played a big exacta in this race, 1-5-5-1, my two top choices. I thought there'd be some more pace in this race. Bango, the 3, and Hidden Scroll, who by the way finished last, didn't really break out great, and you could see the 4, who I liked a little bit actually in this race, got a relatively easy lead. We'll just go ahead and right to the stretch here. Oops, sorry, went too fast. Attachment rate, who I liked, was a little bit too far back, saved ground. You see the fractions here, 22 and 4 and 46 for a graded stake race, going 7 furlongs for older horses. Um, that is not fast. So a special reserve got an easier lead than I thought, frankly. But I like attachment rates after you see he's on the wrong lead, but he switches back at the end. And you see Flagstaff just goes by, and I really needed attachment rate for second. And boy, ah, he didn't get there. I mean, the wire was not right there. It was a little bit ahead of that. I thought he got there at the wire. I just lost a dirty bob. I had a pretty big exacta. You see the gallop out, attachment rate galloped out far in front of the field there. I had a big exacta 1-5 and another exacta 5-1. But anyway, whatever. I'm not going to keep crying over spilled milk. It didn't work out for me. Congratulations to Flagstaff. I mentioned this race in the recap here because a lot of these horses, you see, there's Hog Creek Hustle, who I didn't like because the layoff did not run well. He'll be better next time. Hidden Scroll, I mean, look at the buyers. 104, then 89, 80, 46, popped 102, 60, 39. I mean, this horse is just this is one crazy, strange horse. I'll tell you what, you don't never know what he's going to do. A lot of these horses are going to come back in the 7 furlong race, I'm assuming, on Derby Day. But here's the problem. Charlatan has pointed to that 7 furlong race that they run for older horses on Saturday. I don't see any of these horses getting close to Charlatan if Charlatan goes and runs his race. I'd be interested in attachment rate again, um, you know, in the money depending on the pace scenario. But none of these horses, in my opinion, have any chance to beat Charlatan if they come back on that race on Derby Day, unless there's a lot of other speed to go with Charlatan. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. That was the Commonwealth Stakes. Another stake race that we're going to talk about here is the Shakertown. I'm not going to show the replay of the Shakertown. Bound for Nowhere. What an unbelievable training job by Wesley Ward, a 7-year-old coming off another long layoff. I used him as a B. We talked about it on the show. I thought he'd be wide. He was a little bit wide. He ran down Imprimis, who did not have trouble in this race, except for the self-imposed trouble at the start because he broke through the gate, I believed. I say I believe. I was actually did not watch these races live. I had a family obligation, had to watch the replay. I got home in time for the Bluegrass. But anyway, he ran a big race without any trouble, Imprimis, but he still couldn't win. Bound for Nowhere. The two chalks come 1-2 in a 13-horse turf sprint. I mean, that's pretty incredible considering there are a lot of interesting horses coming out of that race. The top two choices finished 1-2 in that race. Really quite amazing. And you just see, we'll just take a look at the buyers here real quick. The buyer figs, as you can see, Bound for Nowhere runs his buyer top of a 105, and Imprimis uh, ran his buyer top of excuse me, not a buyer top, but he ran a 104. So it was a very fast race, a very good race for those two. Congratulations to Wesley Ward, who just cranks his horses up for Keeneland. Unbelievable. Bound for Nowhere, taking the Shakertown. And we'll be interested to see. He's run, I believe, overseas before at Ascot when he was younger. Maybe he'll go back there again. I don't know. That'll be very interesting to see what they do with him. The other race that I'd like to talk about is the Ashland. And boy, the Ashland was an absolute heartbreaker for me because I really liked Past the Champagne in this race. I put a win bet on her. I don't know, maybe you did out there also. She ran a great race. We're going to go ahead and watch this race a little bit, but the winner was Malathot for Todd Pletcher, who frankly I did not like. I liked the horse overall. I did not like her on the win end because of the long layoff. The horse I liked a little more off the layoff was Simply Ravishing, who was absolutely awful in this race. Um, but Past the Champagne ran a huge race. We're going to go ahead and watch the sort of final turn and stretch of this race. Past the Champagne got a very nice trip. She's the 2 horse here. And Malathot off the layoff of Pletcher also got a nice trip on the outside. They went comfortable, 24-1, 48 and 2. And right, you'll see in a moment here, Past the Champagne, the 2, gets through this hole. And right about here, you could tell that she was going by Simply Ravishing. And right here, boy, I thought I was home. And I thought Past the Champagne was going to roll on. It didn't really look like Malathot was really running her best race at this point. And I believe this was a short finish. This is the first line finish. She went a little bit wide here, but Malathot just ran a fantastic stretch run here. Past the Champagne still with the lead, and just the class and the 2-turn experience of Malathot runs down Past the Champagne, just caught her right there at the wire, and a fantastic effort by Malathot off the layoff Again, past Champagne ran a big race. You see the Beyer figs there. Malathaat improved off the layoff from 86 to an 89, and past the Champagne also made a minor improvement from an 86 to an 88. Congratulations to the connections of Malathaat, who is still undefeated and will be one of the favorites in Kentucky Oaks. This is a very weak 3-year-old division of the Kentucky Oaks right now, and I think Malathaat and Travel Column for me are the top two choices right now. But Past the Champagne is not far off, and she just got 2-turn experience. She's gonna be a very interesting horse in a month on Kentucky Oaks Day. I definitely think Past Champagne is a factor, and then the other horse that ran out in New York that won the Gazelle also is going to be a factor, in my opinion, in the Oaks. So I think the Oaks is really pretty wide open. I think there's 4 or 5 horses that can absolutely win that race. I don't think anyone towers over anyone else in the Oaks. So that's going to be a really good betting race as well. So that's going to wrap up our show tonight. I really appreciate you watching. Those are my thoughts and opinions. Please make sure, again, you hit that subscribe button. You please comment down below. Follow me on Twitter. Email me. A lot of ways you can get in touch with me. And next Thursday, our live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, we're going to go through the late pick 5 and the stakes laden cards this weekend on Saturday at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. The last major Kentucky Derby prep. I can smell the roses. They are coming up very soon in a month. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great weekend of racing at Churchill Downs in a month. This has been Howard Kravitz for Howard's Horse Handicapping. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Thursday. Good night.